I think we say this all the time, but if you're gonna have a movie with such a dumb premise, you need to make it the movie dumber. This movie needs to be a lot dumber.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you, but it's not. They're not going to do that.
They're not.
Of course.
No, well, that's not true. I mean, like, look. I mean, well, you said. I mean, we covered another Jason Statham movie a couple months ago. Did we? I don't know. I don't remember when it's going to release. Maybe it's coming. Maybe it's going to come out after this review. But like that was that. Like just from looking at it, like it looks pretty dumb. Like I hope the execution's as dumb as it actually, the premise is. And here
sometimes,
sometimes it is. Yeah. This movie is like it's dumb. Sometimes it feels like it's self-aware. But I kind of wanted to just lean into it a little bit more, and that's not what we get here. This is it's still self-aware enough, but okay. But before we go any further,
you're thinking about this in all the wrong way. But we're talking about the Beekeeper.
Sure.
We have to kill him before he kills his way to the top.
Honey?
It's flammable as fuck. Oh no.
Jason Statham movie. Yeah. He is a person of unmatched skill who's retired and surprised he's brought out of retirement for some reason. He has to call upon those skills again and kill everybody up the ladder. Sounds similar to a movie we just talked about recently.
Yeah. Well, we have these movies. They're like a dime a dozen, right? Like we get them all the time. This time, as the title indicates, he's a beekeeper, and it's both literal and a code name of sorts. It's like insider knowledge of it's the insiders know that like beekeepers are kind of these special. It's like a special program, I guess above or like adjacent to the CIA or FBI or whatever. But they're all pussies in comparison, and that's not coming from me. That is straight up from the. Oh no, that's not the CIA. They said that the SEAL Team 6. The Marines and the Navy SEALs, they're all pussies
compared to the Beekeeper.
Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering where you're going with that. I think you flubbed on your information.
Yes. My memory's a little hazy, even though we watched it a couple hours ago.
Yeah, I just got out of a screening. David Ayer, director, was also there to talk about bees. You know what's funny? He mentioned he was talking about how he got stung a few times, unfortunately, because they did work with some real bees on set, and Jason Statham did not. And so I was actually expecting more bees in this movie, and there really weren't that many bees, so I kept on thinking, like, where are you going to get stung anywhere in this movie?
Yeah, that 10 minutes of seeing bees on screen, which I'm probably not exaggerating, it's I guess it's enough time for the director to get stung, or the filmmaker, the film crew to get exposure to them. But yeah, the bees themselves are not at all relevant to the movie. What is relevant are all the bee puns. And
no, there's not enough bee puns.
There's not enough. Well, you were talking about it. Yeah. There's not enough of it in the movie. That's what I mean. It needs to be dumber.
I would have loved this to have been dumber. It's not going to be dumber. You know what they're doing. They're setting up a world. Hey, look, he is blank. In this world, blank is this secret thing nobody knows about, that it's specialized, it's above all else, and it can do whatever it wants to do. And in this movie, it's Jason Statham. He is the best of the best. Oh, what about our law enforcement and our FBI? No, they're fucking morons. Pussies. It's so weird to see almost incompetent FBI agents in this movie. Mm-hmm. I know you can have normal people who are FBI agents, but I've always thought of them as maybe more... Best. Yeah, I've always thought of them as more dignified and detail oriented because they're in the FBI, and to see these two people almost bumble around. Oh wow, I didn't even mean to make that pun. To be bumbling idiots, it's a little strange, but maybe that's what they're trying to say. Jason Statham is so highly elevated above everybody else that everybody are just morons and simpletons compared to him.
The only thing you know is he's a beekeeper.
A beekeeper, a beekeeper? Well, that's not good.
Well, I've said this before, but when you aren't writing with the best, not intentions, but execution, how do you make your main character look more intelligent? By making everyone else look incompetent. And that's basically how the final product is. Like everyone's just practically an idiot.
Everybody is an idiot, and Jason Statham is invincible. I mean, yes, it's a Statham movie. He's built this persona around all the characters he plays. It's essentially the same character all the time. I'm not expecting much in terms of acting or emoting from this. I'm expecting him to just punch people until they stop punching back. And it's exactly what I thought it would be, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I was extremely entertained by this movie.
Yes. Well, I was entertained. I think it's an easy watch. I do have complaints, as I always do. But we'll get to that in a bit. I'd say that the movie... okay, let's talk about Jason Statham. He is so invincible that each scene plays out and you're just thinking, well, at least I was thinking, like, is he gonna have any adversity? It's like, no, not really. It's kind of like the way that movie's supposed to play out, right? Like, he is supposed to be that much smarter, that much more calculated, much more strategic, and, like, a lot more skilled physically in every single way. He can literally outsmart the planet, essentially, is the way that the movie plays out. And yes, it is dumb. It is straight up dumb because it starts off, you think it's going to be one movie. It's like a very simple revenge story. And without spoiling anything, it gets to the highest level. The way that elevates. And by the end of the movie, like, wait, what? Like,
so I just want to say, I love the premise of this movie. I absolutely love it. I want more premises like this because I just relate to it so much. Jason Statham has a friend, a neighbor, who you're supposed to know that they really care about each other because of the 5 minutes on screen they share together. But she gets... What do? She gets tricked into releasing her bank statements to predatory hackers, I guess you can say. Scammers, thank you. And they steal all her money. She's so distraught that she actually commits suicide. Very sad. And what does he do? He goes up the chain. He literally finds out who is involved in making this person I care about suffer, and he enacts revenge.
You're a blessing, Mr. Clay. This place was crabgrass and weeds, and you brought it back to life.
Mrs. Parker and I were friends. She was like family. She was the only person who ever took care of me.
I just got a message saying that there's a problem with my computer.
Yes, ma'am, we got this.
Yesterday, she shot herself.
This is private property.
Do you know what they do here? Scamming the weakest in our society.
Buddy, I'm counting to 3.
1, 2, 3.
I love it. I have a personal story I can relate to because somebody tried to do that to my grandfather. My grandfather is an older person, obviously. He's my grandfather. Somebody called trying to scam him. They somehow got his information and they knew he had a grandson. So the person called saying he was me. And thankfully, my grandfather is still mentally aware. And he said, "You don't sound anything like me." He's like, "You don't sound anything like him at all." And the guy said, "Oh, it's because I was in a car accident. That's why. Like, my nose is broken."
oh my God.
And yeah, like, people are predatory on the elderly. So like when I saw this premise, I was like, yes, fuck those people. I hope they suffer. My grandfather's smart enough. He didn't give him any money. But, he goes and he enacts revenge on these predatory scammers. And that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. It was so satisfying. And I think the movie is clever and very Hollywood in showing, well, who are these bad people? Well, they're internet douchebags. Like, who are the internet
crypto,
douchebags?
NFTs.
Yeah, crypto, NFTs. And you have Josh Hutcherson basically playing, who's he playing?
Sam Bankman-Fried? I don't know. We got to be more specific than that.
Oh, God. Well, I'll get back to it, who he's playing. But they're all douches. So think of internet douchebags, and he's plowing through them, just taking them all out. And
yeah. Well,
that's all I
It's very cathartic, of course. Like, you want to see these assholes, like, suffer. And Jason Statham is the perfect audience surrogate. It's like, yeah, you're in it. You're supposed to feel this relief. It's like, yeah, fuck these guys. Like, they all need to literally burn.
I'm gonna burn this place to the ground.
But then, like, the movie, like, again, it's so simple. The movie is really simple. Like, every little element, like, story, I can't even call them twist. It's like every story beat that happens is like, it's just like one notch above, like one notch ridiculous more than the last, because of how it needs to escalate and like, or get to the next level of like, oh, this goes beyond what you think, right? It's not just as simple. It's not as simple as just Jason Statham is taking on this one tiny one company. It's like it gets to the highest level, and
it's much deeper than that.
It's much deeper, exactly. And like the fact that it's just Jason Statham himself, no help, barely any help, doing all this. Is
you're right. He's doing it all. Well, no, he's not. He has
a little bit of help,
one assistant, but barely in the movie, which is kind of funny. Yeah. He phones a friend. That's what he does.
The one lifeline that he used.
Yeah.
The money's going all over the world, to people in finance, even government.
It's so over the top, but I kind of wish it was a little bit more over the top. Like, I don't know, he sicks a hive of bees at some people and they sting them to death. I actually wanted something ridiculous like that to happen.
Yeah,
we need more beekeeping things. We need more bee things in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, we can go on about how much more bee puns and bee references and whatnot we could have wanted, but it's not that. The movie is not at all a comedy. So
no, that's not true. It is a comedy.
It's not.
Yeah, it's like an action comedy.
Okay. I wouldn't say comedy. The director said it's an escapist film. I think that's a good way of putting it, where you turn your brain off and you just enjoy. You're in it for the ride, and you do laugh at certain moments. But I don't think there are any jokes.
Well, no. I mean, Jason Statham kind of he does riff a little bit. I wouldn't say that it's a comedy, but it's like, there's comedy moments in the movie.
My fingers, he cut them off. Oh, what the fuck, bro?
Don't move.
It's very lighthearted. It's a very simple watch, and you're supposed to take it in for that. What it is. It's a very simple action movie in many ways. I'd say, even in the action department, which I think it's. I mean, there's not much I would really dive into there because it's very typical Hollywood action.
I got it. You can get him. You can get him.
But you feel really proud of yourself.
Right? Yeah. It's really not much to say other than that. I was hoping for more. Because Jason Statham, we know he can do The Thing. We know that he can do his he does great in the action department, and I was hoping it would be at least a little bit better than your standard Hollywood fare. But there's a lot of tropes here, like the shaky cams, the rapid editing, the extreme close-ups, the edit on every hit, that kind of thing. It's not the worst, but sometimes it gets really unclear. There are 2 scenes I remember, and I'm not going to dive into them at all, but I legitimately had no idea what was happening.
Well, that could be because we watched this in IMAX. And I'm starting to realize now that I don't want to watch really big, bombastic visual things on the IMAX screen because it literally engulfs your peripheral vision. You see it from edge to edge. And as people who like to really get a more detailed look at action, I generally have to be further away from the image to take it in a little more clearer. And seeing just the action just kind of just explode in our face was a little hard to catch. I have a feeling if I rewatch this just on my computer screen, I probably would have liked it more, but I do agree with you on some of those things. It's typical Hollywood action. I mean, you have Jeremy Marinas, I think it is, who was action director. He did John Wick 4, so we know he's no slouch. I think that, yeah, I don't know. Is Jason Statham he's getting older? Because as all our action stars are, they are getting older, so maybe they can't do the longer takes anymore. But I think it just might be the choreographer as well, because I just watched Expendables 4 and he fought Iko in that, and that was a legitimately pretty good fight scene. Like, we don't have the edit on every hit. It doesn't look like Hollywood Jason Statham. It looks like Jason Statham actually in a martial arts movie in Expendables 4. So going into this, seeing him go back to Hollywood style action was a little disappointing.
Yeah. Well, there's some glimpses of good action here and there. It's not terrible. In particular, without giving away, there's a fight that happens right outside of a bank, and it's good. It's not great, but it's good.
Oh, when he fights the FBI.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to say it, but yeah, he fights a bunch of dudes. I mean,
I don't think that's a spoiler. He can fight the FBI.
I mean, sure.
He can fight Frankenstein for all we care. Like, I would tell you.
I would have loved that. How dumb that would have elevated the dumbness of this movie. Actually, I love this recurring gag of Jason Statham just appearing. He's like Batman. He just appears in rooms. I'm like, that's amazing. That's great.
No way he's coming here straight through the back entrance.
I figured I'd give the firefighters a break.
Somebody detain this guy.
I kind of want this. I wish they didn't explain it at all. It was just like, I mean, sometimes they don't. He just shows up magically.
Well, it's funny because we get it. He's the unstoppable force. So he's location bouncing, as he should in every revenge movie. And sometimes what they do is they set up the infiltration scene. They set up how exactly he gets in. And sometimes, like in this movie, he just shows up. And I think that's actually pretty funny.
Exactly.
And at the end of the movie, though, he infiltrates, and you're like, sure, why not? Of course he can get in.
Beekeepers is a special program outside the chain of command.
I protect the hive. When the system is out of balance, I correct it.
Like Jason Statham, we know his shtick. Like, for the most part, he plays Jason Statham in pretty much everything I've ever seen him in. Right, but he delivers the one-liners, the witty retorts. Not in this movie. There's no wittiness whatsoever. Exactly, that's what I was gonna get at, which is actually Jason Statham's not in the movie a lot. If you really think about it,
yeah,
he's like a secondary character. You're following the FBI agent who is the daughter of the woman who was killed. And it's really all about her. And then Jason Statham just shows up to kill people. And I'd say that the writing for like how characters get from point A to point B, and even character motivations, is very muddled. we get it, which is I love the overall messaging in the movie, which is like sometimes the law fails and you have to just take matters into your own hands, right? And that's basically what this movie is. It's like
I agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, there's a vigilante action movie. It's like it's so straight. It's so straight to that point. There's like no nuance to it at all. And then our real main character, the daughter character, it looks like she's toggling between the two, but then she's never sure which way to lean. And then by the end of the movie, she's like, fuck it all. And it didn't feel like a organic way of getting her there. It's just like, well, look, Jason Statham just needs to get away, okay? You just gotta let it happen. And she's like, okay, sure, why not?
We have laws for these things.
Until they fail, then you have me.
The writing's not anything spectacular. I wouldn't even say it's well thought out, but it doesn't matter because even David Ayer's like, it's an escapist film. Turn your brain off, enjoy the movie, and that's exactly what I did. I mean, for the most part, I still had moments where I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But okay, I can still enjoy this movie.
Yeah. So going back to what you said, which actually really kind of made me not upset. So you're right. Jason Statham exits the movie a lot for these other characters to do their thing, exposition, whatnot. And so I thought, okay, well, he's not in the movie acting. He really doesn't need to be. So I thought, oh, well, maybe he'll be able to put in a lot more time in training and doing previs or you know, not previs, you know, getting in a lot more time to do the training for the action. Maybe they're going to set up more elaborate action. And only the final fight, I say, felt like it was something that was really worthwhile. Because everything else for me was just, it was okay. It's a lot of the hard hits. It's a lot of those big, I don't even know how to describe, big punches where where the sound effect is helping to do a lot of work, and the stuntman is really reacting super hard, which is fine. That's fine. But I was hoping for more choreo.
This is much bigger than a little phishing scam.
Like more continuous action versus just like seeing reactions to the big hits, which again, it's fine. If I just want to see a collab or a montage rather of people falling, I can go to YouTube for that. Like I want to see good choreography, and that's good choreography that's well shot. And here's like a lot of it is really just like watching Jason Statham hit a guy in the head with a foam. But like extremely close up, so you can't actually see the impact. You know, that's how it feels. And I'd actually argue that the last fight is not good because it's so tight. We just talked about mayhem and we talked about hallway fights in general, and this is practically a hallway fight.
It is a hallway fight, yeah.
It's a hallway fight, and it's like it's too close. There's nothing inventive about it. It's actually so close that I can't make out what's going on. I just have to assume things. I mean, we were also very close to the screen. Yeah, but I could not make out certain movements. I was like, what is happening? Like, all I can tell is that someone got stabbed, and I'm assuming it's this character because he's grunting. And that's really it. And then the way it ends, it's like, okay, well, it just needed to end the way it ended because we need to move on. Not because like we get to actually indulge in the action and see the way that it escalates and then it comes to an end. It just feels like, okay, we just need to end this scene, so let's just move on.
Okay, I mean, I don't agree with that. I like the action in that scene because I didn't really care for the action anywhere else in the movie, but that's okay. When I'm thinking of the movie as its own little thing in its own little bubble, that's like the best for me, that final action scene. But in terms of if I'm comparing it to anything else, like, it's just fine.
I'd actually say that the the action wouldn't be my reason to watch the movie. It's probably for the simple yet easy to watch nature of the film. It's simple. It's an hour and 45, and it didn't feel like it at all.
Yeah.
Like there may be like one time. Maybe one time I checked my watch just because I had to use the bathroom. But otherwise, I didn't think I needed to do that. Like, it was really easy to sit through this movie.
This is
breezed by fast.
This would be perfect watching with a beer, watching with a drink, watching with friends. Yeah, it's great start to 2024. Unlike another movie we talked about, which was just an okay. I think this. Yeah. I like this movie. I thought it was really fun. I don't know, like I feel like whenever we go to the movies now, it's like I want it to be a fun, enjoyable time rather than us just kind of sitting there and waiting for something to happen. And I don't know. I think I'm just thinking about that last movie we talked about a little too much. And there was a little too many times where we were just sitting there waiting for something to happen.
Like, come on! I mean, even though that movie had technically better choreography, it's like overall movie wise, it's like, oh god, okay, like that was slow. This one, there's no lulls, at least for the most part. I don't remember being too bored with the movie in any particular way, but there are. I think I would have enjoyed it more if there were just a lot more B puns. I think that's the overall review of this episode, which is like needed more B puns.
So this movie fails because you have Jeremy Irons in it, and he's giving a speech to men, letting them know that there is somebody out there who is better than them. And you know what he doesn't say? He does not say, be prepared. Failure. This movie just completely fails. Yeah. Fist to Fail Awards goes to the Beekeeper for dropping the ball. They had it.
That should be an award that we give now, the Fist of Fail Award.
Ooh, yeah, we should do that now.
Yeah, for those of you who have no idea what that joke is, what you're referencing, you guys are clearly not millennials. Go and watch some Disney cartoons.